This is a really, really odd guitar here. What it appears to be a hammer, but a very old and primitive hammer. There's no branding, there's no number, there's not much original about this other than the neck and the body haven't been broken. There's been work done to it. It originally had some sort of Fender tremolo in it. So the back's been all plugged up and the tremolo cavity at front's been plugged up, and it's been made into just a standard Gibson type of layout with two humbuckers, two pneumatic bridge, and a stop tailpiece. So why do I think this is a hammer? Because I was told it was a hammer, and if you look at the headstock, that is very much a hammer headstock. This was in a repair shop for many, 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 many years. Original owner probably disappeared, who knows, and I heard about it, and I don't know, I've wanted an Explorer for a while. I had an Epiphone Explorer, which I liked, but it didn't quite do it for me. Not the guitar's problem, it was a great guitar. I wound up selling it, and I wound up picking this up, which I did in a trade, and I had my friend Mark Brown do a fret job on it and make it so it was playable, because it wasn't and hadn't been for many, many years. So this to me looks like it was maybe one of those original hammers. Was made by a fellow in, I think it was Illinois, by the name of Jim Beach, who did their first prototypes. So it's a Hammer Standard, which is an Explorer style guitar, very much the Explorer shape, but the hammers had maple tops on them, and this one obviously doesn't. They also had binding, and this one doesn't. This is just very basic, but it looks like it was made this way. I mean, all the edges of the body are beautifully radiused, you know, like a factory job or luthier job. So this was probably never intended to have a maple top. So maybe they were making a more basic model, or maybe this is a prototype that just never got finished. I don't know. I've looked for photos for another one all over the internet, never saw one. And I've looked for information on this. It's all pretty sketchy. I've seen a couple Hammer prototypes that had the same headstock and same wood composition, but they weren't in this shape. And they were probably made in the late 70s. The Hammer company came into existence around 1974. And that would put this guitar probably from between 74 and 79 is my guess from what I have read. But again, haven't seen another one, haven't seen a photo. So is it collectible? No, it's been too messed with. But I believe it to be some sort of historically significant guitar. I really think so, because if this is one of the very first Hammers, a very primitive one, well, it's an American company, originally two guys, and but if it's not a Hammer, it might be a Jim Beach, and if it's not a Jim Beach, I have no idea what the hell it is. But this is what it is. It's with the neck pickup. These pickups that I had put in it are Burstbucker 1 in the neck pickup and the Burstbucker 2 in the bridge pickup. Here's both pickups. can almost get a Telecaster kind of sound out of this guitar. Maybe because there's no maple, I have no idea. The guitar weighs 8 pounds, 10 ounces, which is kind of in the lighter Les Paul weight. It's a big guitar, so yeah, it's going to be pushing almost 9 pounds, but it's under 9 pounds enough to feel pretty comfortable to play. This is the bridge pickup. So this is a great guitar. It really is. As primitive it is, as modified as it is, and as basic as it is, it's really, really good. So that is a testament to American craftsmanship of the 70s by two guys at Hamer who wanted to make a guitar that was made in the spirit of the better 50s and 60s Gibsons, because in the 70s Gibson was produced by a company called Norlin, and the quality level wasn't quite the same. And some people really like Norlin Gibson guitars. I, for one, don't. I don't think they're terrible, but I don't think they're anywhere near as good as Gibsons that came before that, and particularly Gibsons that came before like 1961. Those guitars are, by and large, the best thing that Gibson ever made. You know, Les Pauls, 335s, those guitars are just, you know, phenomenal, and of course, untouchably expensive too. So that's what, I guess Hamer started out as. The two partners were buying vintage guitars and selling them to Japan, and they had a really good thing going with that. But then they realized that the vintage guitars were going to run out, and they would still want to have something to sell. Like, why not make something that's like the older Gibsons in terms of features, but then maybe modernize it for modern rock and roll players? So that is where the Hamer Guitar Company was born, and this is maybe one of the first ones, supposedly. I don't know. Any of you folks have any information on early Hamer stuff? Let me know. I would like to know. I want to make sure that I'm not barking up the wrong tree and not telling people misinformation about this. This is just all the stuff that I have learned about it in this video. But for me, I have finally arrived. I have the Explorer shaped guitar that I want. I don't need to go spend all that money on a Gibson, and I don't need to settle for a Chinese Epiphone, as good as they might be. And this one didn't cost very much money. And yeah, it's great. It's just got a real quality feel. It's got a real rosewood fingerboard. And from what I understand, the early Hamers had Brazilian rosewood fingerboards. This doesn't really look like it, but time period would indicate that it probably is, just because Brazilian rosewood was very commonplace in electric guitars, American electric guitars anyway, back then. But, well, you tell me. Okay, that's it. Hamer standard prototype, whatever.